Good Tuesday morning, everybody. I am Chief Meteorologist Dave Turley. We thank you for joining us for this Weather Now. And of course, the big topic today is going to be what's going on with Hurricane Michael and the potential impacts on our area. So we thank you for joining us. However, you're watching us on our Roku app, our Amazon Fire TV, at our Hurricane Center page at WTOC.com or on our WTOC Facebook page. We thank you. And if you have questions or comments, go to our WTOC Facebook page. And that's where I will be answering some of your questions here in just a minute and trying to go back afterwards if I can answer a few more of those as well. Hopefully we get you all the details that you need to know to be prepared for Michael. It's a major hurricane right now, or very close to a major hurricane. Still a Category 2, but winds have increased up to 110 miles per hour. So it doesn't have far to go to get that major hurricane status, and it is expected to reach that. Here's the outer bands right now as the storm is still into the Gulf of Mexico, not quite yet reaching areas of Florida, and they're not expecting a lot of rain down through central and southern areas of Florida. But here's the warnings and watches we have out there right now. And you can see we have hurricane warnings in effect here along the Gulf Coast still. Tropical storm warnings, or watches, I should say, in effect for our area with tropical storm warnings in here across central areas of Georgia. This is the 11 p.m. advisory, and the warnings and watches, it looks like, have been expanded a little bit. Some more warnings now in some of our far western areas. But we're all at least under that tropical storm watch. We do expect to see tropical storm winds, that's at least 39 miles per hour across the area. And maybe even getting some higher gusts than that across the region, depending on the exact track of Michael. So let's get right into that path. Again, this is the newest advisory from the National Hurricane Center. There's the winds. Again, Category 2, very strong, 110 mile per hour winds. 111 starts Category 3. Its movement is to the north right now at 12 miles per hour. This yellow outlined area is the extent of the tropical storm force winds, and there's red underneath there. You can kind of see it underneath the icon. That's where the extent of the hurricane force winds. So as we go in time, here's Tuesday tonight at 8 o'clock, continuing to get closer to the Panhandle, still expecting a landfall. This is Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. 125 mile per hour winds. This could be coming close to a Category 4 hurricane before making landfall here along the Florida Panhandle, right near Panama City, it looks like. And you can see some of those tropical storm force winds already starting to get into southwestern areas of Georgia Wednesday morning. Now, as we continue on, notice by Wednesday night at 7 p.m., the storm is down to a Category 1, so it's going to weaken very quickly once it makes landfall. We're looking at 85 mile per hour sustained winds here closer to the center in southwestern areas of Georgia and still probably in the Florida Panhandle. But some of the tropical storm force winds are extending into trying to get close to our southwestern areas. So I think Wednesday night, our far inland areas, our southwestern regions, are going to start to see some of those tropical storm force winds. And then overnight, and especially into Thursday morning, it starts to overspread our area. And again, this will be a transitioning storm, meaning it's transitioning from a hurricane into a tropical storm. Here's the projected center of the storm Thursday morning at 8 a.m., getting up right near the Augusta area with the sustained winds at about 50 miles per hour. But certainly tropical storm winds could be gusting more than that here across our area Thursday morning. And then the storm should move quickly. We're expecting to move out of here as we head through Friday morning. So by Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening, improving conditions across the area with decreasing winds. And I think we'll get some drier weather in here as well, as the storm should move through quickly. So based on that track from the National Hurricane Center, what do we expect? What are the impacts from Michael with this system? It's going to be more of a Wednesday night, Thursday afternoon, morning afternoon event for our area. 2 to 4 inches of rain, certainly going to be possible with locally higher amounts possible, especially far inland, maybe over towards Sylvania, Swainsboro, back into the Dublin area, and certainly if we get any of those heavier rain bands setting up. It certainly could be more if we get what we call a training event, meaning those heavy rain bands kind of setting up over the same areas could certainly get some higher amounts. Well, that's a general rule right now, 2 to 4, and that it could be locally heavy. So even though we don't expect widespread flooding with the heavy rain, we do need the rain. We're seeing drought conditions for a lot of areas, but locally flash flooding could be possible. Local flooding as we get in any of those typical heavy rain events out there, low-lying, poor drainage areas, if you get that heavy rain coming down in a very short period of time. Now, as far as the winds, again, tropical storm force, that's at least 39 miles per hour. We could get gusts 40 to maybe 60 miles per hour, especially if how those rain bands set up. And in those stronger rain bands, you can get some of those gusts, which have the stronger winds aloft, and that rain, the thunderstorms, normally tend to bring that wind down to the surface here. Isolated tornadoes, certainly going to be a possibility with this system, especially Wednesday night into Thursday morning, and with some of those stronger wind gusts. Power outages, this is the main concern from the storm for a lot of us right now. So now is the time to be preparing for that. We know it's a Wednesday night, Thursday morning affair across the region. So if you are concerned about power outages, have a lot of trees around your house, go ahead and right now stock up. Make sure you have your batteries out there, flashlights in case your power goes out, extra water, canned goods just in case your power goes out. It's a wait and see as far as what's going to be happening with the power outages, but there's probably going to be some power outages as we know what happens as we get some of those gusty winds moving into the area. Also, we know the wind's going to be coming up here, so a lot of people have already put out their Halloween decorations. You might want to go ahead and bring those in as well, as they can become projectiles with winds gusting 50 to maybe 60 miles per hour across the area. So here's the local threats we're looking at for Michael. Gusts to 30 miles per hour. Yeah, that's what we are generally expecting. That's going to happen for most of the areas, it looks like. Now, gusts over 60, not likely, but 40 to 50, maybe up to 55 miles per hour. Can't get ruled out there. Flooding rains is 2 out of 5. Again, we don't expect widespread flooding, but localized flooding if a heavy rain band sets up, certainly not out of the question. Tidal flooding, that's the thing that we have to worry about at the times of high tide. We don't expect a big storm surge with this event, but tides are already running pretty high thanks to we're coming out of the king tide, so they're running a little bit higher than they normally would, and the influence of Michael, bringing a little bit more of an onshore flow, will help keep those tide levels a little bit higher than predicted values coming up here, and we're going to show you those tide cycles in just a second. As you see, isolated tornadoes, a 2 out of 5 threat as well. So let's get into the winds. This is starting out Wednesday at noon. Again, we don't expect much in the way of any wind Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon. As we head on through the 5 o'clock hour, notice a general gust here, maybe 10 to 20 miles per hour. And then as we go on through the evening hours, here's midnight. Notice starting to get some of the gustier winds here across the Douglas area, maybe even into Alma. So again, we talked about being overnight Wednesday into Thursday morning. Watch what happens as we go into 7 a.m. Thursday morning. Seeing some of those winds gusting maybe to 50 miles per hour in Hazelhurst into the Alma and Douglas area. General 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts still possible here as you get into Thursday morning, and then that continues through Thursday afternoon. This is when we can see the brunt of the gustier winds across most of the area Thursday morning through Thursday afternoon. This is noontime, seeing those winds gusting to 50 miles per hour for a lot of areas, maybe a little bit more. And then by 6 p.m., as the storm is working out from the southwest to northeast and pulling away from the area, improving conditions from southwest to northeast. So lighter winds here in our southwestern areas, and then improving conditions throughout the evening hours for all locations as we head through Thursday, depending on the exact track and how fast it goes. So chance of tropical storm force winds in here, very likely here from Claxton, Statesboro, down into the Douglas area. This is what we are expecting to see. Again, as you're closer to the center, which is going to be moving up right along I-75, it looks like, heading up towards the Augusta area. So again, that would be more of a Thursday morning event, it looks like, for the area. Now, the tides, again, this is what we're looking at for tides, up to 8.4 feet. So it's a pretty high tide out there running. That's the predicted astronomical tide. Now, the influence of those onshore winds have been producing a little bit higher than predicted values out there. And then these are the ones we're really going to be watching out for coming up here Wednesday night and into Thursday morning with Michael moving into the area. So keep that in mind. 9:52 around that high tide cycle here, anywhere, let's say, from 8 p.m. through midnight. Keep your eyes on that. And then also again around, let's say, 9 a.m. through around 1 p.m. on Thursday. That's what we'll be keeping our eyes for, the tidal flooding possibility. So again, the rainfall totals generally 1 to 3. Could see some higher amounts of the rain band set up. Higher amounts expected inland closer to the center, 2 to 4 plus inches. We could easily see some higher amounts if we get those heavier rain bands setting up over the area. But again, a general widespread flooding event not expected. And this is where we had that flash flood watch, again, where they are expecting heavier rain. Central areas of Georgia especially, but that does include Toombs, Montgomery, and Emmanuel County with that flash flood watch. We do have that coastal flood advisory right now for Glenn County as well, taking us through those morning high tide cycles. So that's what we're looking at right now for Michael. And again, I'm going to go see if we have any questions for you out there, from you, I should say. Put on the glasses. I'm going to refresh the page here on our WTOC Facebook page and see what we have. And I'm going to get to as many as I can out here. There is a whole bunch. People are watching out there right now. Hello to you, David. Thank you for watching. Mary. Let's see. Oh, come on. That's weenie winds. Nothing to make a commotion over. Mary, we know what we had with Matthew and Irma. Most of us just saw tropical storm force winds, and look at all the trees that came down. Look at all the power that went out because of those tropical storm winds. So when we're talking about 40, 50 plus mile per hour winds, that's enough to take down tree limbs and some trees. So we're not trying to overhype it. That's the main concern right out here. Again, we're not looking at a big flooding event. We're not looking at a big storm surge event out there. But I mean, you have a storm moving over the area, certainly going to get some power concerns out there. Hello to you, Wendy. Wendy says nobody knows where it's going for sure. We're pretty confident in the track of this system. Most of the computer models are really honing in on this particular track. So as a confidence factor, we're actually pretty high on this one. Amanda, I'm not sure about schools. Nicole, so Savannah, okay. Again, rain, gusty winds, power outage concern, isolated tornadoes. Hello to you, Shell. Let's see. Courtney says, when deadly storms come, it's good to get all references if it's a valid resource. Yes, we're giving you computer model guidance, what we're looking at, and information right from the National Hurricane Center. Thank you, David. We appreciate you watching. Hello to you, Courtney. Any school closing? Lori wants to know. We do not make any decisions about school closings. If there are any, of course, you can go to our website at WTOC.com. I'm sure we're going to have any of those on there if we do have any. Brian says, well, definite power outages and flooding. I'm with you on the power outages. I definitely think we're going to have some flooding concern if we get any of that heavy rain setting up, and it'll be more of a localized event, looks like, as of right now. What kind of winds for Guyton and Rincon? Terry wants to know. Again, we just talked about that. We're looking at maybe 40 to 50 plus wind gusts out there coming up here, especially more for Thursday morning and early afternoon hours. Vidalia, you are not doomed, Jody, but just be prepared. Power outages are certainly going to be possible for your area. Winds could be gusting over 50 miles per hour for your region, and you could be talking about 3 to 4 inches of rain in the Vidalia area. Dorothy says government and Savannah's closing are still undecided. Yeah, again, I don't have any information about closings. That is not where we make the call. Brittany, so Hinesville won't be as bad. I'm not sure what you're comparing it to, but we're just giving you the information. You can make your decisions on that. Hinesville still is looking at gusty winds, which could be 40 to 50 miles per hour. Plus, you know, if you get a heavier rain band setting up, could get some localized flooding out there. Power is still going to be a concern out there. So you can plan to make your plans on that. Hopefully you're prepared out there today. Even tomorrow you have time to get out, you know, your supply kit, batteries, flashlights, water, canned goods, just in case your power does go out. It's always good to have that stuff anyways this time of the year. Luella wants to know about storm surge on Tybee Island. Again, we're not expecting a big storm surge, but at times of high tide, you do need to be concerned about that. Tides are still running a little bit high as we're coming out of the king tide cycle, and the influence of Michael certainly going to have those tides running a little bit higher in here later Wednesday, especially into the Thursday morning high tide. We showed you that. I believe the Tybee tides are about 9 Wednesday night and then about 10 or 11 a.m. on Thursday morning. So yes, keep that in mind. We will be seeing the possibility of some coastal flooding at high tides along the coast. Christina wants to know about the impacts from tornadoes. Again, we are on the east-northeast side of the system. There is a potential for any one of these rain bands to produce a few isolated tornadoes. It's something that we have to be concerned about with any tropical system making landfall, and certainly this is going to be a tropical system, so we cannot rule out isolated tornadoes. That is why we want to make sure you have the WTOC First Alert weather app or a way to get alerts if we do have any one of those spin-ups. Usually these spin-ups occur fairly quickly. They're usually fairly brief, but we want to make sure that if they do occur, you can get that information right there at your fingertips. So download the First Alert Weather app. Make sure your tropical tracks are turned on, and you can get that information. If you don't have that First Alert Weather app, if you don't have a smartphone, you have a NOAA weather radio, and that's also a good way to get that information right there from the National Weather Service about any tornado warnings. Let's see. Mary says, to me, looks like another hype panicking people to go out and buy unneeded stuff. Mary, it cannot be further from the truth. I can't stress this enough. We're not trying to overhype this. There is going to be a tropical storm moving over our area Thursday. That's going to produce tropical storm winds. Tropical storm winds are easily enough to take down tree limbs and some trees. Power outages are the main concern. Isolated tornadoes are going to be concerned. Whether you want to heed the information we are giving, that is up to you. We're not trying to overhype this storm. We just want to make sure you have that information. It's going to be a Wednesday overnight and into a Thursday affair. All out of here, it looks like Thursday night. The weekend is looking better, and we actually have some proving conditions coming up here if you like that. So again, we're not trying to hype this, but we're trying to make sure you are prepared and have that information. Aaliyah, hello. Thanks for watching from Bullock County. Thanks for the update. Guyton looking pretty good, I think. Staying alert, though. Donna, that's it. Yeah, we're not trying to say doom and gloom, but we are going to get some rain showers. We are going to get some of those tropical storm winds, especially in the gusts out there. So that's what we want to make sure that you are prepared for that. Hello to you, Jake. Nicole wants to know, what about Pooler? We just told you all about that. Cynthia, hello to you. Justice says every soldier on the third ID is praying for closure as well. There you go with that. D says, what about Darien? You're looking at maybe 1 to 3 inches of rain over in Darien. Winds gusting 40 to 50 miles per hour, especially coming up more for you would be more early on Thursday. What about Nichols area? Again, you're looking at winds maybe over 50 miles per hour in some of the gusts, and we are definitely looking at the potential for maybe 2 to 4 inches of rain over in the Nichols area, with maybe even more. Again, depends on how these rain bands set up. So if you got the weather app, you're checking the radar to see how this rain is setting up, you could actually see where those rain bands are and how it could be impacting your area. Every storm is going to be different. We can't really say that this storm is just going to be like a past storm, say Hermine or so. We know the track is going to be similar, but again, all the ingredients coming into this are going to be different for every storm. So that's why we want you to be prepared and make sure you have a way to get that information. So hello to you, Mark and Danielle. Hello to Vaughn. Hello to you, Nicole and Dorothy. We don't know anything about school closings yet. And did you know some people still didn't know the storm was coming? I'm sorry to hear that, Ashley. We've been talking about this storm for quite some time. We do have First Alert weather days to let you know of that. We had those out there, I believe, starting on Saturday to let people know of the potential for this. And now as it gets closer, this is what it's looking like into the area. Should people in trailers in Wayne County find somewhere else to stay Thursday night? That's a very good question. If you live in a mobile home, a trailer, I think your trailer will be safe from the winds. Now, I would be concerned if you have any trees around the area which could be blown over and going into your mobile home. That is the main concern. If you're worried about that, I would try to find an area which you might be a little bit more safer in, away from a lot of the pine trees or whatever these large trees are around the area, because that is certainly going to be a potential as these gusty winds, 40, 50 plus miles per hour, can certainly do some damage to some trees. So again, yeah, I would be a little bit more concerned if you did live in a mobile home and you're concerned about that. You might want to try to get somewhere which is a little bit more sturdier and safer for you. So that's the updates right now on Michael. Again, always available. I want to show you how we can get that information to you. Let's go to our WTOC First Alert weather app. We got latest information in here. We're going to be posting an app for you with the 11 a.m. advisory on there, and it's a great tool to have. Those alerts with the videos are right on the top. You see right there, Cutter did post a video earlier detailing the information about what we expect. You can see it right there. Some tree damage and scattered power outages. Those are the main impacts we are expecting. And then there's important right here, the live radar. As you click on that, that'll show you what's happening in real time across the area. And if you click on the bottom right, the 3 sheets of paper, you can have right there where it says tropical tracks turned on and tropical alerts as well. And then that will give you any alerts. And right there, as we zoom on out a bit, there's the projected path of Michael as it's turned on. And if we do have any alerts, again, you can get that right there. Those are the tropical alerts, the tropical storm watches you have in the pink right there, and then a tropical storm warning for some of those far inland areas. So that's a good way to get the information. And of course, at our Hurricane Center page at WTOC.com, we're going to be making sure we post as much up-to-date information on there as possible so you are informed with this. And I just urge you to have a way to get that information. WTOC will be here as well to make sure we give you the latest information. We're going to be live coming up here for the news at noon. So until then, have yourself a great Tuesday.